It's a Wednesday morning and, of course, 15th of July 2020. Welcome to the Market Review. We will give you the insights on the financial and capital markets and how it relates to the economy. Let us give you a lineup of what we'll be discussing this morning. The Regency Alliance Board Meeting Notice, Dangote Sugar Refinery, July 9th, 2020, court-ordered meeting outcome, a review of Guinness Nigeria PLC's profit warning, Nigeria Stock Exchange comic book, Coronation Asset Management's latest report, and C&I Leasing's first quarter 2020 unaudited results. And first, Regency Alliance. In compliance with the provisions of the listing rules of the Nigeria Stock Exchange, Regency Alliance Insurance PLC has given notice that a meeting of the Board of Directors of the company will be held on Thursday, the 28th of July, 2020. The meeting will consider and approve, amongst other issues, the unaudited financial statement for the second quarter of 2020, which ended 30th of June. In view of the above, it is informing the general public that the closed period for trading in the company's shares commenced since 13th of July 2020. Therefore, no director, person discharging managerial responsibilities, or employee of the company, employees of the company's subsidiaries, associates, affiliates, advisors, insiders, and consultants of the company, or persons closely related to them may directly or indirectly deal in the shares of the company until 24 hours after the unaudited accounts for the second quarter ended 30th June 2020 is released to the exchange and the general public. That's from Regency Alliance. Let's go to Dangote Sugar Refinery PLC, which held its court-ordered meeting on July 9th, 2020. That was 12:30 p.m. at the Eco Hotel and Suites in Lagos. It passed the following resolutions which investors, shareholders, and the public will need to know. The first is that the scheme as contained in the scheme document dated May 29, 2020, with or subject to such modifications, addition or condition agreed at the meeting and approved or imposed by the Securities and Exchange Commission at the court, a printed copy of which has been submitted to the meeting and for purposes of identification endorsed by the chairman and is approved as follows. The directors of the company be and are hereby authorized to consent to any modifications of the scheme that the Securities and Exchange Commission or the courts may deem fit to impose or approve. The Dangote Sugar Refinery be and is hereby authorized to receive all the assets, including all tax attributes, unutilized capital allowances, tax losses, withholding tax credits, and any other tax refunds available subject to the approval of the Federal Inland Revenue Service. Liabilities and business undertakings, including real property and intellectual property rights of Savannah Sugar Company Limited, transferred by SSCL to the company, pursuant to the scheme of arrangement between SSCL and its shareholders, upon the terms and subject to the conditions set out in the scheme of the arrangement without any further act or deed. Just to inform our viewers and the public that Dangote Sugar Refinery has acquired the Savannah Sugar Company Limited. Also, among the resolutions, in consideration for the transfer by Savannah Sugar Company Limited of all its assets, including all tax attributes, unutilized capital allowances, tax losses, withholding tax credits of SSCL, and any other tax refunds available subject to the approval of the FIRS. Liabilities and the undertakings, including properties and intellectual property rights, without any furtherance act or deed to the Dangote Sugar Refinery, of 146,878,241 ordinary shares of 50 kobo each in the share capital of Dangote Sugar Refinery will be issued and allotted to the shareholders of Savannah Sugar Company Limited, except for Dangote Sugar Refinery. Scheme shareholders, for 162,756,968 ordinary shares held by the scheme of the shareholders in the Savannah Sugar Company Limited as at the close of business on the terminal date and credited as fully paid. All legal proceedings, claims, and litigation matters pending or contemplated by or against Savannah Sugar Company Limited will be now assumed by Dangote Sugar Refinery after the scheme becomes effective. The solicitors to the company are directed to seek court orders sanctioning the scheme and the foregoing resolutions, as well as such incidental, consequential, and supplemental orders as are necessary or required to give full effect to the scheme. And the Board of Directors are hereby authorized to take such actions as may be necessary to give effect to the scheme and the foregoing resolution. It's a part of the developments around the acquisition of Savannah Sugar Company Limited by Dangote Sugar Refinery to expand its operations and continue to provide leadership in the sugar industry. Over the week, we've seen that companies have come forth with reports of their performance, and expectedly, in the wave of the challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic and the global economic uncertainties and the impact it would have on companies' operations and their incomes, Guinness Nigeria has declared a profit warning to its shareholders and investors. And we just want to take a summary of what they said, and we'll give you why this has become very important. The Board and Management of the Guinness Nigeria PLC notified the Securities and Exchange Commission, the Nigeria Stock Exchange, and the investing public as follows: that the adverse impact of the sharp contraction in economic activities and the knock-on effects of the COVID-19 lockdown took a toll on the on-trade segment of the business across all its markets. Production and revenues have thus been negatively affected. Guinness Nigeria carried out a comprehensive review of its asset base and made a strategic decision to impair a certain category of assets which were generating suboptimal returns. This is in line with the company's long-term strategy of delivering value to the shareholders. Due to a combination of the impacts of COVID-19 and the asset impairment, Guinness Nigeria PLC expects the profitability of the company for the financial year to 30th June 2020 to be impacted. The company's balance sheet, however, remains strong, and this gives the board the confidence that the company has the right resources to continue to deliver the strategy. The audited financial results for the year, as approved by the board, will be published in accordance with extant rules and guidelines after the completion of the year-end audit in the month of August 2020. Just to say something here, that this is a remarkable effort by the Guinness Nigeria PLC to engage the investing public, to tell them clearly how things are, and the fact that they could face a profit challenge. Profit warning shows its value, its response and understanding of the market, its responsibility to investors, and the realities of what it's going through. And you know that Guinness Nigeria PLC is in the FMCG space. We expect that other industry players would learn from this experience and also take a cue to come forward and share the state of affairs, and if we're going to expect a profit warning. So on record, Guinness Nigeria PLC is the only listed company that has issued a profit warning in the market. That's something that we'll be monitoring in the course of the market review program. Any other company that is facing the impact of COVID-19 should come forward and express the real issues and let us know if we're expecting a profit warning. It becomes very important for transparency in operations. The Nigeria Stock Exchange is simplifying investing in the capital market, and this is coming through a comic book. I love comics growing up. I don't know if you love it, but it's a very interesting thing to see that a capital market is now taking the comic approach. And let's go through why this has become very important for Nigeria Stock Exchange. The proliferation of dubious investment schemes that often result in loss of money by unsuspecting members of the public continues to make the role of financial literacy imperative. To play its part, Nigeria's leading bourse, the Nigeria Stock Exchange, or the exchange, has issued a second edition of its comic, Stock Town. It's dedicated to providing financial literacy education to Nigerians. The comic, available in digital format on a dedicated website, www.nsc-stocktown.com. Let me take that again, www.nsc-stocktown.com, builds on the exchange's advocacy for safe and trusted investment schemes. The story picks up from the first edition following the life of Maura Johnson as she seeks to liberate her family from their financial struggles by investing in the capital market. The second edition highlights some major lessons for potential and existing investors, including the need for vigilance in avoiding Ponzi schemes and unregulated investments, whilst advising prospective investors to seek proper guidance before making investment decisions. Readers can look forward to a simplified explanation of the history of the capital market, its evolution over the years, and how anyone can start making investments today in the frequently asked questions section of Stocktown. Commenting on the importance of this comic, Head Corporate Communications for Nigeria Stock Exchange, Mr. Olumide Rojimi said, investor education is a priority for the exchange. He has maintained and identified the need to empower individuals across all levels to make good financial decisions and better their lives now and in the future. As the investment landscape continues to evolve to accommodate more retail participants, NSE is excited to leverage new and existing platforms to present investment products and processes in ways that are both appealing and easy to understand, particularly in this new normal. The NSE hopes that Stocktown becomes a widely read resource for potential and existing investors, the financially excluded, millennials, and the larger public. Stocktown is just one of the many ways the Nigeria Stock Exchange is demonstrating its strong commitment to promoting financial literacy in Nigeria, even amidst the coronavirus pandemic and the temporary closure of the exchange's facilities. The NSE continues to host virtual financial literacy workshops with students and young, upwardly mobile professionals. Furthermore, the exchange has hosted several webinars on various products, including exchange-traded funds, green bonds, and securities lending, to provide more information to the market on available securities and how to trade them. It should also be recalled that the Nigeria Stock Exchange is a member of the Financial Literacy Technical Committee of the Securities and Exchange Commission, as well as the National Financial Inclusion Steering Committee led by the Central Bank of Nigeria, with a mandate to reduce the level of financial exclusion in Nigeria to 20%. Don't forget that this year Nigeria is targeting 80% adult inclusion in the country, making it 20% exclusion. So the NSE comic book, Stocktown, is an interesting comic book for you. And what you need to do, if you can't go to it physically, get the physical copy, go to the website, www.nsc-stocktown.com. If my producer can put that website up again, that link. Please help me go back to that link, the link for the website. It's very important to get it correctly so that you can go to it. And it's very important at this time for us to learn a lot about the capital market, because penetration remains very low in capital market. And it's very important for us to get it right, to understand what the market is about, and it should be something that everyone should be passionate about. So it's www.nsc-stocktown.com. www.nsc-stocktown.com. Go there and learn about the capital markets, learn about investing, learn about things that have to do with the financial market, making investments, because a lot of us save in the country, but we don't invest. So what's the sense of saving so much and you don't invest in very sustainable ventures? There are a lot of things to learn from the Stocktown, and it's another innovation from the Nigeria Stock Exchange as it continues to deepen financial literacy. So this period of lockdown, this period of easing the lockdown, please, to our millennials, it's not just about checking what's happening on Instagram with celebrities, on Twitter with latest videos of comedians and celebrities. They're doing their own thing, but also include in your to-do list daily now to read to Stocktown. You will learn about the capital market. And here in ProShare, we also continue to create our awareness and we'll give you further insights around it, even in our market opening gong program and of course our forthcoming series that will be coming out very soon on millennials discussions around the market. Nice one from the Nigeria Stock Exchange. Let's get on to Coronation Asset Management. They brought out very interesting reports and it's looking at navigating the capital market, the investors' dilemma. So, of course, it identified the fact in its recent survey that inflation and not losing money in investment schemes are two major concerns of Nigerian investors. So if anyone was to ask you a question, what are the concerns of investors in Nigeria based on any survey that's happening in the country? Inflation and not losing money in investment schemes are the major concerns of investors. Mr. Guy Zadoriski, the head of research at Coronation Asset Management, in a recent media parley, talked about the fact that this was the major thrust of the survey carried out ahead of the launch of its report, Navigating the Capital Market, the Investor's Dilemma. According to him, the revolutionary report studies the Nigerian investment scene over 10 years and finds how Nigerians have managed to preserve their capital over the long term. Some of the conclusions, according to him, are surprising. For example, it has been remarkably easy to beat inflation over the last 10 years by buying federal government of Nigeria treasury bills. However, with the crash in interest rates in the first half of 2020, this era has come to an abrupt end. So remember all those times people would rush in to buy treasury bills. It says that era has come to an end. Wow. Speaking further, he said, by contrast, equity market returns have not preserved capital for investors over the long term, including people like me. I mean, investing in the capital market is not really preserved for the long term, even when adding back the generous dividends paid to investors. Think about that. By looking at the internal profitability of stock exchange-listed companies, the report identifies which stocks are the ones most likely to generate satisfactory returns for their owners and back-tests the results. He admitted that Nigerian investors face difficult choices as interest rates have crashed. Satorisky noted that the alternatives are either to simply wait for rates to rise again in the future or to accept more risk to increase returns. Well, will the rates rise again? That's a big question. Of course, very soon we're going to be hearing from the monetary authorities and look at what's going to happen in the market. But that's an interesting report, and you can log on to our website, www.proscience.com, to look at that story and even the report that's been published online. So, interesting report from Coronation Research, Coronation Asset Management, looking at the capital market. If you want to know what concerns every investor, they said inflation and losing their money in investment schemes. So if you're investing in any scheme, of course, you're watching it. Now let's get on to C&I Leasing Company. They have released their first quarter 2020 unaudited financial results for the period ended March 31st, 2020. Let's give you the key highlights. First is that the gross earnings grew by 10.8% to 8.7 billion naira from 7.8 billion naira in the previous quarter. That is interesting. Profit before tax declined by 49% to 221 million naira. Profit after tax declined by 57% to 173 million naira. Net assets grew by 13% from 15 billion naira to 13 billion naira. Well, interesting from the CNI. And just to let us know that in this period, we'll be monitoring corporate results from financial institutions to other sectors, listed companies on the exchange. And second quarter 2020, unaudited financial statements will be very important to see the trends. Is COVID-19 impacting performances? Is it really affecting revenue? Is it affecting performance? And what are the implications of this going forward? So as those results come in, we'll be giving them to you and on this program. So just get glued online every 10 a.m. to get those updates. We'll bring them to you as they come. Very important. Don't forget also, this period, we will be monitoring activities from the Securities and Exchange Commission. Like we said, with the inauguration of Mr. Lamido Yuguda as Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission, we are expecting that the first Capital Market Committee meeting, the CMC meeting, should hold. Is it virtually or however it is going to be done? It's very important for the capital market, for all stakeholders with SEC to meet to look at the markets, half year first for 2020, and what to expect in the second half of the year, and key activities and decisions that should be taken, because whatever happens, regulation must always be ahead of the game. And just to give a recap of our discussion with Mr. Simon Nukwe, who's the Vice Chairman of the Association of Securities and Dealing Houses of Nigeria, ASHAN. One interesting thing he said was that they're targeting third quarter of 2020 to establish the Lagos Commodities and Futures Exchange, very significant to deepening our commodities market exchange, because currently we just have only one functional, efficient and effective commodities exchange, which is the FX private exchange. That has been a key player. The addition of the Lagos Commodity Exchange would bring further traction to the market and the commodities exchange value chain. And so that is one very interesting development that we'll be monitoring into the third quarter, hoping that all the regulatory approvals will be made. And that could be the first major regulatory approval of the new SEC DG. If that happens, it's very important. And second thing he really said is that the capital market must be an integral part of supporting Nigeria's economic sustainability. So in financing infrastructure, in financing development, the capital market should be the place to go. And it's encouraging the government to continue to engage with SEC and all relevant capital market stakeholders to leverage the capital market to finance key projects. And in terms of subnationals, if you are having steady internally generated revenue and have a good credit rating, you should look at how you can access the market to further finance some projects. I mean, it's very important. Ekiti State have visited the market. That was last year to discuss around its plans and its strategy ahead. Lagos State has leveraged the market over time, and Osun State has also been one state that has engaged the market. So definitely, other states can look at it. If they have good idea, have good credit rating, they can really leverage. And very importantly, the millennials. You constitute a very huge demography in Nigeria, and say if you're from 18 years to 35, it's believed that you're the real millennial. So ways of assessing the markets, deepening your participation in the market becomes very important. And from ProShare, yes, we have coming up very, very soon, and not too far from now, series that we're looking at that aspect of how we can deepen millennial participation. We acknowledge the efforts of all the exchanges and even the regulators, and we know that this is very important. So every millennial in Nigeria, the capital market, every effort to make it not complicated for you to understand, to invest, is on ground, and you should take advantage of it. Yes, very, very important. Very, very important. And that will be all for the market review. Join us throughout the week for reports, analysis, and exclusive interviews on the Nigerian capital market. And also log on to our website, www.proshng.com, to get more of this. To all the investors and the public, please beware of online platforms that promise you 100 to 200% returns. And they're not registered or are not regulated by the Securities and Exchange Commission. Do not give in to their schemes and strategies, because like the devil, they say in the Christian faith, you have to flee them. That will be all once again. Thank you for watching, and whatever you do in the financial and capital market, please get more awareness before you put your money in anything. And have a lovely day. Stay safe.